So it being
My handsome young man.
6 p.m. and 20 seconds. My name is Bruce Mack. I am the treasurer of, the secretary of the Rockland Fire Protection District, and I am hereby going to call the meeting to order. First order of business is roll call. Trustee Dunn. Here. Board Secretary Mack here. John Kelly is not here. I'm sorry.
Megan Lamb.
Thank you, Megan.
I'm
I know
here
it's
so
Megan, but I never
little.
remember.
You're fine.
I'm sorry. Both of our chiefs are here. Our treasurer, Trustee, Mr. Snobler is here. Our president, Marcin Malinowski, is not here tonight. He had a previous engagement, so he won't be here. But that's okay. We can forge on without him. So with that, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, that having been said, since we do not have a present, I hereby nominate the Trustee Dunn as our acting president for this evening. Do we need a voice vote or just
A voice vote would be good.
okay, Trustee Mack, aye.
Trustee Dunn, aye.
Trustee Malinowski, missing. So with that, I will turn it over to you, acting President Dunn.
Thank you, sir. All right, so agenda item number 3, consideration of the meeting, minutes of the regular meeting of the Rockland Fire Protection District Board of Trustees for February the 9th of 2026, which was our last meeting.
Yep.
I had a chance to review them just a few minutes ago, and everything looked good to me.
Yeah, I have no, I have no concerns. I've seen them, so.
Yep.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the minutes as tendered by our attorneys.
And I will second that.
Okay. Voice vote.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. All right. Keeping in mind that Lake Forest has meetings, so you want to lead us off? Chief's report?
Appreciate it. Yeah,
Of
so
course.
I know that we had sent you guys over the last couple months a few of the reports. So I was going to kind of do a kind of a quarterly review at this point. So 62 calls to the district over those first 3 months, which I think is probably just about the pace of where we typically are. Some of the months, of course, you get the 25s, and then the next is 12s, so it all evens out. As far as just some of our problem children addresses that are, the longer response times that we do see, I think that that's held consistent, but nothing egregious. The only ones that were at that 10-minute mark were the Smith Avenue apartments and 700 Dickinson, which we just know are, some of the farthest spots, and a couple of speed bumps along the way to get there. So otherwise, nothing in your district that's been kind of out of the ordinary. Obviously, mostly EMS calls, a couple of gas leak indoor things. Luckily, nothing weather related that at least I'm aware of up to this point. We've had a lot of them going on in general, but you guys have been kind of spared. So keep the bubble up. That's a good thing. As far as just internal our department stuff, this is the time of year there's a lot of housekeeping. So for those of you that have listened in, you've probably heard kind of my canned what's going on in the city, but we have a new engine that's going to be on, hopefully on our bay floor by sometime in July, and we've got a few things we'll have to do to do some compartment organization, but we're hoping sometime this summer to have our new fire engine in service, which is exciting. Our building is a big topic of conversation if you are following anything at all, but we are really excited about it. It's a much needed 1960s building update that, it's a full gut, and it truly is something that is going to benefit our department, your guys' district, our employees for the next 50 plus years. I think it's a pretty transformational project, and regardless of how people feel about the numbers involved with it, it's something that we need, and it's going to be good for us long term. So again, if there's a few that maybe have questions, I'm happy to answer them about that. As far as staffing goes, we just offered a guy from South Carolina, actually, so it's going to be kind of interesting trying to onboard somebody from that far away, but he technically brings us back to our normal staffing level, so that's a good thing. It's just a matter of how do we coordinate with him and family to get him here. So I'd love to have reported a date where we'll be back at our normals, but to be determined in the next couple of weeks, so, but that's exciting though, so we've had, obviously an influx of good young people and excited for the experience this guy brings too, but it's just kinda interesting to be looking nationally and having this recruitment thing kinda stretch out a lot farther than you expected and having to deal with bringing in people that are doing Zoom call interviews for a fire department and, bringing in certifications and experience that are very different from what we have, but I think that's a good thing. I think it's gonna add to our department for sure, so. So again, I'm glad there's residents here. If you guys have specific questions about my department in particular, like I said, I'm happy to answer. And
I was at the city council meeting, the new building is going to be, the building, or the refurbished building is where the police and fire are now.
Correct.
The police are moving out and you guys are getting the whole building.
Exactly. So if you're familiar with Field Drive, where like our municipal services is,
Right.
behind the old Lake Forest School of Business, or the School of Management that was there, that was on Field Court, kind of that same area. I don't know if you guys are familiar with any of those buildings up there, but behind that, there's a building that the city bought last year, and they're converting that entire building into the police headquarters. So they're gonna move out of our building by the end of the year, and then that, what is currently the public safety building is gonna become entirely fire department dedicated headquarters. So we're really excited. It's gonna be more than double just our living square footage, which is exciting. And also we'll miss the relationship we have with them, but I think it's good for both departments, just from, since I've started, we've talked about how that building is too small for both of us, and, we can get a lot of updates, so it's a really good thing for everybody.
Easier to keep your plans for the annual softball game secret.
Hey, all I know is we'll continue to win. That's all.
How much of a load are all these seniors putting on your department, since this is, you're now the richest?
It's no real different than what I've experienced since I started, and I've been there for 18 years.
Well, it's gotta put some kind of load on.
Sure. Well, but, the fire service in general, like, we typically run 60 to 70% of our calls are EMS, and I couldn't tell you just off the top of my head, like, statistically what those demographics are, but I mean, typically, all ambulance services, whether you're, a district running to places that have, nursing homes, where we don't necessarily have as many nursing homes in Lake Forest, like, we still have elderly people that live at
But you
home,
have
like our
a wealth
population's
of
that way.
rich old people.
They do, that's why they're at home.
Yeah, there's articles in the paper
But-
about it all the time.
But I would say again, just the demographic strain on us isn't any different than we've had. It's not as though we have an increase of
Interesting,
the
yeah.
elderly, because we've always had those people in town. The people still, are pretty much the same in Lake Forest. They're getting an influx of younger families, but at the same time, that turnover happens everywhere at about the same pace. So as the people that 20 years ago were the younger families, not all of them have left. So they're still, they're seeing new people come into their neighborhoods, but it's good though.
I think the vast majority of the old families have been forced out.
There's still quite a few around. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
we're talking about Swarthouse, that kind of thing, who made their money, fourth generation or whatever, who still own the land. But the vast majority of the old timers who were there, including fire and police, have been forced out.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, I wasn't around, I've heard those names, trust me, I know the historical context, but you're right, I haven't met any of them
Well,
on any calls.
I have lived here a long time, and I am an old lady.
Yeah.
What is the refurbished, the total gut, how much is that gonna impact our taxes that we pay towards the fire district?
None, so all of it is Lake Forest based, Lake Forest is paying for it, actually not even on, a referendum or a bond or anything like that, like we're doing things completely differently for the fire station, so it's all Lake Forest reserves that are paying for the cost for it. It's something they plan for as far as an infrastructure upgrade.
Okay.
So it has nothing to do impact-wise, big picture when a renegotiation comes up for some of those contracts, it's not gonna specifically, have an impact on the district itself. It's just gonna be part of our upcoming next 2 fiscal years to help pay for it out of reserves.
And the percentage that we're now paying in taxes, property taxes every year towards Lake Forest or Libertyville, how does that compare to Lake Forest and Libertyville's tax structure?
The rates that they go, I'll be honest with you, do you have, I don't know if I know exactly what they would be.
So that's really less for them and probably more for us.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds good.
But it's an IGA, so it's a fixed percentage, and
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very difficult question to ask because both our departments are municipal, they're part of, the city or their village. And this is also true with Lake Bluff, where with us, we're a freestanding fire district, so our rate is just for the services, that we provide, that we contract through you. It's much more difficult to get to do a comparison between a fire district and a municipality. Because with municipalities, generally they do have a separate line for their fire service, but being a municipality, stuff gets moved around as needed, so it's not quite as pure. For us, it's pure, so it's very, very difficult to get a true comparison of what the actual cost of running the district is.
And when any of the numbers come up when it comes to the budgeting aspects, like this IGA is already in place, so it's not a part of that conversation. Like Lake Forest is looking at this as an infrastructure project for their town, for their employment, and obviously we're contracted out, but I mean, really it's a Lake Forest project for the citizens of Lake Forest to be doing.
Yeah, I respect that, you just have to understand that a lot of the Knollwood residents feel like a commodity as opposed to a person, that we were bought and sold, right? And my taxes specifically went $52, now they're over $500 for services that are wholly less than they were before when the fire district ran here. And I don't think anybody in this room is probably oblivious to that fact, but, I mean, we still feel less like a person that's respected and more like a sheep that you wanna buy and sell. like cattle.
Say this for
So,
public
anyway,
comment.
Yeah,
I'm done,
yeah,
I'm
let
done.
me-
I-
well, I
With
just,
respect-
I wanna
with
give
respect, I wanna
Yeah.
the
keep
chiefs
to-
the opportunity to,
but I'd
but
like to.
we can get into that, because for what it's worth, all the people sitting on this side of the table were the people that were sitting on that side of the table.
Oh, I know,
when this all
I'm
got
not
fit up.
preaching
So we
to,
can,
I'm preaching to the choir, you
That-
can burn
but
it, you
we do
feel-
have-
you feel that,
But
yeah.
we do have a time for public comment.
yeah,
So,
so we can do that.
to be respectful of the chief's time, I'd like to
Understood.
move on
Thank
to.
you.
Can I ask just one question? The Jenkinson and Smith apartments are close here?
Jenkinson too.
Yeah. But I don't know if that, I'm speaking out of ignorance here, but, so,
They're close
The-
to each other.
right, but they're also, you said those are the ones that are toughest for you? I mean,
They're our farthest responses, just because they're on that kind of that
and
outskirts.
again,
of
you
your
guys
district.
already knew that, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, so
that
that's,
would
that's
be,
where the partnership from Libertyville and Lake Forest come in, because technically you guys have two full-time fire departments that are servicing
okay.
20 square miles. So if
Oh.
Lake Forest, for example, is busy, or if that typically is a dual response to Jenkinson, so we'll come with an engine from our Station 3.
oh, and it's not so
And-
far for you.
No, it's
Right.
not, and then they'll come with the ambulance, because it's in their district, 42K, that's theirs, and 46K is ours. So there's two fire departments, but of course, we're running 5,000 plus calls a year. Between the two departments, we're running close to 10,000 calls a year at least. So there are times when it might take a little bit longer.
Mhm.
And to your point, as far as you were being treated like a commodity, I disagree with that entirely, because yes, it was nice to have a hometown fire department in that 0.8 square miles, but you're getting full service right now as far as all the technical rescue teams,
We had that before.
paramedics, right, but you didn't transport them.
We had that, we had.
All right, well, this
Can we-
is
can we-
Chief's report,
I'm
so
not gonna
that's,
argue with
No,
this,
no,
please respect
let's,
my
I
opinion.
totally
Okay,
respect your
you can
opinion.
speak your opinion during public comment, all right?
Easy
Okay.
peasy, but, yeah, I, trust me, you're preaching to the choir.
Chief
We
Costa.
didn't get to your report, though.
Okay, well, similar to what Chief Rick said, between the two districts, 42 and 46K, we ran about 35 calls in 3 months, in 3 months, January,
Yeah, 'cause-
February, and March.
Yeah.
And we did share the monthly reports with you guys, I shared them both,
Yep.
so hopefully you had a chance to review those.
Yep.
And times were on the back for both months, and we're looking pretty good as far as our response times. Currently,
Yeah.
we're averaging roughly 4 minutes from time of dispatch to time on scene,
Yeah,
which is pretty
trend
decent.
analysis, I mean, that's, as you gentlemen well know, that's kind of the one thing, and, well, it's hearing it directly, public's very interested in, but I'm super pleased with the trend analysis. I mean, I feel like we've really hit our stride on this. one thing I do wanna say is it's about time to do the annual report, so I'll be sending out an email to both of you. And then, we just have to figure out, you know, how we're gonna bucket the individual calls, however we wanna do it. Obviously EMS is gonna be its own category, but then you had somewhere they were dispatched and then, you know, we wound up recalling the unit and that got put in one bucket. And then we had service calls and that got put in another bucket. We used
All those
different names for
hundred
different
calls.
buckets, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And now, since, you're still using ESO, but we're using image trend, and now with the nearest, which is a different way of categorizing different calls, that's gonna throw more buckets into the mix as well.
maybe the
In
thing,
the past, we were with NIFRS, maybe the two of us can come up with maybe we could just have 3 buckets or something like that.
We can try to find some kind of
And
commonality.
EMS, of course, is gonna take the bulk of that, because
Yep.
that's almost 70%, even more sometimes of the
Mhm.
calls. And then we can have a service, and then maybe fire or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that, you
what
know?
yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, when we're tracking times, obviously EMS is king. I think service calls, speaking of which, we haven't had our, I'm a little worried about, what's her, she hasn't made any meetings in a while.
No.
Anyway, I mean, you guys have done a fair number of service calls for folks, and I wanna capture those, cause that's something that kinda slides under the radars. So, for the folks in the audience, service calls are like, we've had some folks that, they live alone, they can't change the batteries in their
Mhm.
smoke detectors, and the departments have been really good about sending folks out to like change batteries and do stuff like that, which is really kind of icing on the cake. It's not really something in the IGA that says that they're supposed to do it, but I think there's been a lot of good effort put in that, so I wanna capture that.
Yeah, there's a lot of goodwill there that doesn't necessarily always come through in the numbers.
Yeah, no, understood. So, how do you wanna do this? Do you guys wanna have that discussion and then call me, email me, or do we wanna just do a 3-way call, or what do you wanna do?
No, so within the next week or so, you and I can
Yeah.
come.
I also think, maybe let us know exactly how you want, I shouldn't say exactly how, exactly what you're looking for. Like, make sure that we're talking about, like, you want
Sure,
call
I'll-
statistics, if there's other pieces of it too. Again, I'm new to that.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You know, probably was involved last year and don't remember, because I was.
yeah,
overwhelmed with
it was last year was a harder one to do than most. Yeah, I'll
So
send,
either way, we will make sure.
I'll send you both.
Just share the information that you asked for last year, and
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
Andy and I will work together on maybe standardizing that between the two departments.
Excellent.
Good idea.
Easy enough.
Okay.
And then as far as internal stuff, we've been pretty fortunate to be able to host some technology campus students on the fire side and on the EMS side, so what better way to give them experience than to invite them into our department? And on the fire side, they ride X amount of hours experiencing what it's like a day in the life of a firefighter. And on the EMS side of things, EMTBs need X amount of hours to get their license. So we assist the tech campus in doing that as well. And then we also have a couple paramedic students from Lake Forest Hospital that ride with us as well too.
Really?
So
Okay. Is-
we're like an education department.
Yeah.
I think most departments in this area do the same thing. We
If,
help out the students.
if there's somebody, and I'm thinking in terms of that camera over there, if there's somebody in Facebook world, that maybe is aspiring to be a firefighter, or wants to, I mean, is there a way for folks to get in on this?
Of
Or do
course.
they have to go through the technology campus?
No, not at all. All they have to do is call either Andy or myself, and we can lead them in the right direction.
Cool.
I was like, Chief Picasso has been a big head of our recruitment and retention part at like the county level too.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of resources that we've been working on over the last couple of years, and, you know, QR codes to lead them to the right type of information online, making sure that we have contacts at things like the tech campus or at departments that are looking to bring on recruits
Okay.
involving Lake Bluff. I think that's our avenue from Lake Forest, that we really have pushed a lot of people that direction as they are starting to do some of the recruit trainings, that they can not only absorb the capacity, but that's their bread and butter, that gets the people in the door for them, so.
No secret, we don't have enough firefighters, so I think that's yeah, I'd like to push that. Okay. Anything else?
Anything else? Good.
No, I think that's good.
Good.
I didn't have anything else, but Chief, you?
Me either, I'll get you that email,
Okay.
so we can start working on that report. Before we leave this topic, I will say, folks that know me know that I track run times a lot. I've had conversations with a number of folks out on the street. They always ask me about that. I knew the old run times from the Norwood Fire Department like the back of my hand. I used to do this kind of work. I was a hazmat guy. They wouldn't let me near people. But you heard me mention trend analysis. It's taken a little while, truth in lending here, but we have two different chiefs and radically different fire departments than the Lake Forest and Libertyville Fire Department that we had even 5 years ago. And we've seen, I do trend analysis on it. I've generally seen the times are going down. I think Chief Costa mentioned, averaging somewhere in, I think if I throw them all in, we're averaging somewhere in around between 4 and 5 minutes. Every month it goes a little bit here and there. So, when you go and compare those run times to the published times that, for instance, Chicago Fire Department puts out, we're obviously leaps and bounds ahead of that. Gone are the days, unfortunately, right, wrong, or indifferent, gone are the days where we had a 2-minute run time from here to there. But 4 minutes is pretty darn good. So with that, I think when we go into public comments, if you'll allow me, I'll do my public service announcement again.
Of course.
We have a Facebook, we put all these recordings up on Facebook. We realize people can't make these meetings all the time. We encourage people to reach out to us, watch these things. What do you say? Like and subscribe? So please mention that to folks out there. And for those of you who are liking and subscribing, please tell your neighbors, because we don't want to be a black box. So with that, back to you, sir.
Thank you. All right, thank you, chiefs. With that, I will bring us to agenda item number 5, public comment. The district trustees allocate time for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the fire district trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Public comment.
Yes, I think I sent you a email on some of the things.
Me?
I sent all three of
Yes,
you.
Jan, correct?
Yeah, I'm Jan.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I had the right one.
And I
I
sent
want to make
you,
sure it's the one
now,
I'm
if
thinking of, but okay.
it went the same way as the phone calls, I probably didn't get it, but anyhow, it seems Shields Township is having a real problem understanding the disposition of this building. And they want to buy a new building or be able to build a kingdom, like for Norwood, so that they can have a czar. But anyhow, we would like to know, I would like to know, one, what is this disposition of the building? Is this building for rent, possibly? Will this building be torn down in the event, whatever that's coming through? Because you've got all this, supposedly this commercial stuff going on. And I know John Josephitis, so I know that it's probably sewed up. And I just want to know where this building is, so that if we were to recommend, okay, you could rent a space in this building with all alternatives, for a period of time or whatever, or that, you can't move there because it's going to be torn down because they have to make a move within a few years. Okay, that is why I'm here mainly.
Okay, well, I've kind of been the lead, I'll start.
Yeah, you've kind of been the
Guys,
one where the building.
jump in where
And I did send all three of you an email.
I saw it.
and I'm sure you
I did see that. I did see that all three.
I was out of town for a good chunk of
That's
the week.
right, I'm putting you on my list.
I'm on a lot of lists, so. That's not a surprise. But thanks for bringing me up to speed, because, yeah, even if I had seen the email, which, as I said, I was out of town.
No,
for several days this
I
week.
really try to
would've
inform
forgotten.
everybody. In fact,
Yeah.
that's what I do
Yeah.
majorly,
Yeah, I
is
appreciate that.
inform everybody, so everybody knows what is going on in this disaster that we live in called Shields Township. Okay.
So, rental, let's talk about that. is already being rented to NIFAS. They are paying us a good chunk for that, and it covers our operating expenses, which is a good thing.
Now, which organization is that?
NIFAS, it's the.
Northern Illinois Police Alarm System.
Right.
So it's sort of like Mavis is for fire, is for the police, so it's a,
Carl, you're gonna have to write that down for me, because I have hearing aids, and I'm not hearing very good.
So here's the thing, easy
Okay.
part is, if you look into the base, it's all full of police stuff.
Okay, super. Oh,
tanks
so
and
you already
stuff.
do
And
police, yeah.
That's.
Yeah, so the-
Hey, let's face it, they get cool toys.
Which police department?
It's a joint
It's a
operation
joint.
task force that's basically a number of departments that are surrounding the
Okay,
North Shore.
so, but there would be like a space that then you could rent, for others.
In here. So going back to your next question, which
Yeah.
is, what about the rest of the space? They do have access to the spaces, but it's a shared space. Nobody's contacted us about renting it, to be very clear, so I'm speaking out of turn completely. We started to have this conversation, and I wanted to have it in front of the camera. So, as of last November, which is the last time I had a conversation, the project here it's been approved by the legislature, it's been funded. They do their funding. I come out of governmental construction, and I'm used to a
I
different
know.
way of doing that. I have my opinions, but they basically use a revolving fund, which means that if a project runs over, they want to finish project A before they move on to project B. What that has a tendency to do is to push projects down the road. As of last November, because we occasionally will have people that will say they'd like to buy the building. Great, okay, wonderful. But as of last November, and I see no reason nobody's contacted us with a change, and I see the commercial real estate folks are still trying to flog all these other ones around here. It's still on, as far as we know. I reached out to them today because I knew that this was gonna come up. And unfortunately, the district engineer, who I knew pretty well, is no longer there. They're not gonna stiff arm us, we'll hear from them, but it might take a little bit longer.
Bruce, just to be clear, you never said it was that IDOT, and I don't know.
Yeah, this is-
Oh,
this is
yeah,
specifically
sorry,
for-
yes, sir.
Clarify what
District.
you're talking about.
Yeah, no, fair enough, that is IDOT, IDOT works on districts. Our district is, I think the headquarters is down in Schaumburg. When I was over at the Navy base, we'd go down there and visit all the time. Anyway, long story short, as far as we know, it's still on. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. It would require a change by the legislature to take it off the construction list, which I don't see happening, but we'll continue to monitor that. The flip side of that is, and I know some folks have come to us and said, well, why don't you sell it? Why don't you sell it? You really need the building. Well, because our bills are being covered, the building is paid off. Anyone we would sell it to, if we sold it to them, or for that matter, anybody that moved in here, they've got a cap. There's gonna come a day, and the trailer you see that's an IDOT trailer, it's an IDOT contracted trailer. There's gonna come a day when they're gonna knock on the door and say, this is the fair market value, here's your check. So, the trick is, people wanted to come and buy the house, they wanna buy this building for less than that, so they can sit on it for the day that it comes, and then they can
And then
sell
they
it,
can
make some
Yeah,
profit.
it's already appraised at $1 million.
Yeah, so we're obviously, that would be foolish for us to do, it wouldn't be a good use of tax money.
Absolutely.
So that kind of talks about the disposition of the building. I am not with IDOT, I don't have inner workings, but as I said, last we heard, and it's been pretty much the case for a while, is that, our projects have been slipping a little bit, but you guys are still on the approved list. It's been funded, it's gonna go into the coffers, and when your turn comes up, we're gonna start reaching in the coffers.
We know it's coming, we just don't know when.
Well, I won't be here when it comes.
And this is just some kind of reconstruction of Route 41.
They're basically redoing the entire
although you gotta admit, if they were to fix that, it looks really cool, but, yeah, so it means on-ramps and off-ramps and all that, which is why you see all of those for sale signs, because when the word came out, it was, oh, I'm gonna sell it for $1 gazillion, and what people fail to understand is that the condemnation process pretty much sets the fair market value.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't get to say, I'm not selling
Eminent
routed
domain.
around.
Right.
So did that get you the answer?
Yeah, it does, it does settle it down. In other words, so nobody knows, really. I know they've been talking about it, I'm 94 years old, and they've been talking about it for at least, I would say, a good maybe 20 years now. Yeah, and of course, nothing has transpired. And so I get tired of listening to them, because I'm getting old, and I would like to see things happen that are good that I've been working for 30 years. I've been on the case for 30 years. And I just want to be able to say, I don't think you know what you're talking about, or, whatever,
That's
so,
fair.
with
Sure.
some
That's a fair
authority,
comment.
because,
I can say one thing though, because I've been here, I used to be the new guy. I think when I hit 30 years in the neighborhood, I ceased to be the new guy.
would you believe 64?
Yeah, so, it goes fast, doesn't it? But, we heard rumors for years and years and years. It never actually got, so the way projects work in Illinois, and council, please stop me, because you know the legislature better than I do. I know the federal
Well,
process.
let's be real, no one really knows.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a black box, but, they basically get projects and the General Assembly approves them. So there's a line item list. So up until maybe 6 years ago, we were never actually approved. They kept talking about it as a preliminary plan. So there's a difference between a plan and an approved project. This is now an approved project. It got on the list, the legislator said, yep, let's do it, and you can pull money out of your budget to build it. So it ceased to be the planning thing, because what would happen is, and I've run into this in my past life as well, what happens is, they do all sorts of planning. Planning department does that, at the Navy base does it, IDOT does it, Water Reclamation does it. Just because they plan it doesn't mean it's an approved project. And that's where the disconnect happens, is words, the plans get published. You have to have it, there was a meeting here not that long ago about the drainage district. They have plans, but they're not funded and they're not approved.
Yeah.
That's the difference. I think this one, as I understand it, based on my conversations with them, it's actually approved in black and white, and it's waiting its turn for funding.
Okay, now across the highway, there's a bunch of office buildings that I know there's nonprofits in there, and I know who they are, but that's another story. Is that going to be?
We don't, I don't know. The only thing I think we know is that this building is impacted, but beyond that, we're not sure.
Okay, thank you very much
Of course.
for listening to me.
I've seen the drawings, but I'm not
Well,
gonna
I
comment on
have
some
too.
other
I have
engineers'
too.
drawings.
But I was a school teacher. Fortunately, my husband was an engineer, so, yeah.
It's like practicing law without a license. I try not to do that either. Or look at other people's drawings, because it's not my seal on the drawing. All right, anyone else? Do you wanna finish up the conversation that we were having about call times? Because
I said what I
that's a matter that
Can
is
I?
near and dear to my heart.
Can I take the minutes, can I get a name for you, just so I can record it if you don't mind?
Oh,
The
Sure.
minutes?
Yeah, Catherine Sobilla.
Thank you. I'm probably gonna spell your name wrong, so I apologize in advance.
I think the smartest and easiest thing to do is, when we get done, everybody go up and make sure you give our names to get it right. Because what happens is the meetings get approved, they're public documents, and when they get screwed up, then people get, upset, and then,
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
I just
man,
have one question, so I can tell her. What's the name of the company that runs?
It's NIP, is it AS? Yeah.
NIPAS?
Yes.
Northern Illinois Police
Alarm
System,
system.
okay.
So what happens is, like, Mavis, you know, they trade, they support each other, fire departments support each other, and there's that
Right,
overarching system.
Right.
Same with the police department. So not everybody can afford to have, I can't call it a tank.
But it's a specialized teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That do
Okay.
above and beyond training
Yeah,
for
right.
specialized
Yeah,
responses
I'm
for the
clear.
police
That's
department.
nice.
And it's their vehicles, it's their process.
Yeah. So all the cool toys that they have back there that, you know, we can't.
Kind of like for a SWAT situation.
Essentially,
Yeah,
it's like
stuff like that.
simplistic, I hate to like say that out loud, because like a mad that the fireman just said it was.
They
SWAT.
absolutely
Yes.
will,
That's-
so
yes, that's-
send your hate mail to him, not me.
I said it.
You got it wrong.
That's essentially what it is.
And it's worked out really well for them.
Yeah, no,
Is that okay? And I don't-
Absolutely.
I don't mean to step out, I have another meeting to get to tonight, but if at any point you guys need to get contact information of the board, I'm happy to share that with anybody, or have just private conversations if you
and
guys.
tell Eric Kaczynski, I
I
need
will.
to hear from him.
I'll let them know, I'll make sure I get that card going, so thank you guys very much, thank you guys very much, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, let me know if you have questions, follow up, right? Thanks a lot, take care.
Nice to meet you.
Bye-bye.
So,
Take care.
Okay, any additional public comment? Alrighty.
you know what, we don't get people coming to visit us all that often, so come visit us, cause, you know,
we're here.
I used to get invited quite often.
Well, we're here.
we're here.
And I used to have a seat right there.
My wife mentioned,
Ed Whitehead invited me
Yes.
many times.
my wife mentioned, she said, people must like what you're doing because they're not showing up to yell at you, so.
Alrighty,
Okay.
well, with that, I will bring us to agenda item number 6, discussion and action on the annual compensation for the trustees and treasurer.
It is that time of year again, so I know both of you have, well, the Fire District Code allows for a district like us, for the trustees to get a stipend of $1,000 a year, or an extra $500 if they maintain their continuing education, advanced training, which I know the two of you have. I don't know if Marson has.
I believe he completed, I'm
Well,
not
I mean,
sure.
it doesn't matter at this point, I'm just checking with him. So he'll either get 1,000 or 1,500. But, again, because it is an expense, the board needs to approve the, 1,500 for you, 1,500 for you. The treasurer gets a $1,500 stipend for doing all the treasurer's work.
Yes,
So if you wish to do that, then I can go ahead and issue the payments.
absolutely.
Yeah, when you speak to Merson, just please remind him that I need to have that document.
You need the documentation, yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the annual stipend, as tendered by our treasurer.
And I will second that. And voice vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
And all those opposed? And one absent. Alright, agenda item number 7, attorney's report to the board.
Not much going on. The General Assembly, I think, is back in session after their spring break. I haven't heard any chatter about anything fire district related. I think they're focused on the Build Act, which you guys might have heard about, Pritzker's big agenda to change zoning. So I feel like that's been the big push I've been reading about lately. Obviously, if there are fire related bills passed, we'll let you guys know. The only thing I want to mention is a case came out related to FOIA a couple of months ago, and Metra was found to have violated FOIA because someone's email ended up in their spam filter for one day. And then the FOIA request, so it ends up in the spam filter on the 5th of the month. Morning of the 6th, they get that notification, like, here's all the things that are in your spam. They pull it out. Since it goes from their spam filter to their inbox on the 6th, they consider that their first day for receiving the FOIA request.
When in actuality it was not.
It was the day received.
Or
Yes.
to be determined.
No, the court found except they responded 1 day late. So just periodically peek in your spam. And the court
Yeah.
did say that, like, if they had never received the email, they might have found differently. But just based on that case, I'm just kind of cautioning everyone, keep an eye on your spam.
Yeah.
Because sometimes things
Sometimes
that
stuff that-
shouldn't end up in there
Yes.
can.
Yeah,
Yep.
all the time, actually.
Yeah, no, that's,
It's a good call out, though.
yeah. I mean, that is, and, you know, coming from the Fed, that's exactly how they manage it, is, it doesn't matter who got it. So we would often see FOIA requests sent to the wrong person, not to the published location, not to where everything said to go, didn't matter.
Interestingly, this is an unreported opinion, which is why I'm not telling people about it. But there was an unreported opinion that came out recently where a FOIA request was not sent to the FOIA officer, it was sent to the wrong person. And the court there found in favor of the municipality.
Yeah, so
But,
the 7th and 9th districts both supported the Fed in that same kind of situation.
Yeah.
But out of an overabundance of caution, it's like, okay, you know, and
Oh,
usually
absolutely,
for
just
us,
comply with the request.
yeah, the good news is most of our requests are, either the answer is we got it or we don't have it. I mean, there isn't a lot that requires research.
Yeah. Most of ours are relatively easy, so.
Yeah, so that is my last couple of months, that's been my little preaching point. that I tell you
All
about.
right.
That's it.
That's a really good call out, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Agenda item number 8, treasurer's report.
All right, on the balance sheet, as of March 31st, the checking account was at $746,446.03. Reserve account was at $312,883.97. And petty cash remains at $81.75. For total assets of $1,059,411.75. On the budget tracking, we're 11 months into it, so about 92%. On the revenue side, we've received all of our tax revenue and the various other, the Illinois Department of Revenue and the foreign fire tax are all in for the year, so we're about 98.3. We're still, I still have to get a bill for the lease, and that'll bring us up to full 100%. On the expense side, we've paid off the IGA for the year, so that's at 100%, that's the biggie. Building operations, as I said, just as we close up the year, we're at 57% of budget, so that's good, we're well ahead. District administration, we're about 35%, so again, we're very good there. And then our insurance was paid off at the beginning of the fiscal year, so it's at 100%, so that's sort of right where we should be on budget. So that's the treasurer's report.
Thank you. I will make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
Seconded?
Roll call vote, trustee Mack,
Aye.
trustee Dunn, aye, and trustee Malinowski absent. Agenda item number 9, approval of outstanding invoices.
Okay, we've got 2 months worth because we didn't have a meeting last month.
Yep.
So, ComEd, at $1,692, North Shore Water Reclamation for sewer, $13. House and Gates for the legal retainer, $850. Comcast phone and internet, $289. City, for the Visa charges, which I will go through as soon as I finish this, $110. North Shore Gas for $1,008. ComEd for the second month for $155. We're having some weird billing things going on there.
Yeah.
$1,600 1 month and $150. There's some weird timing where they're not getting, and it's also true with the gas too, is that it'll be really, really high 1 month and really low.
They're not getting the bill
They're not
from the
getting the
supplier
bill.
in time.
Exactly, exactly.
Because I think that happened in December or January, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it nets out. Okay,
Yeah.
so
But you dug into that, and the numbers made sense when you evened them out.
Oh, yeah, and when you look at the bill, you can like, you have the meter reading and
Yeah, one's way high and the other's way low.
Or like, for example, with ComEd only delivers the electricity.
Right.
We actually buy it from, I don't know, Santana or one of the other
The
ones.
big suppliers.
But ComEd handles the billing. There's just no line item on the, 1 month, there's, so all you're paying is the delivery charge, and then the next month it's got 2 months worth of.
That's,
supply.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Supply.
okay.
So,
Alright.
so that's why you see that weird kind of bouncing around. Okay, continue on, Lake County Public Works for water, $39. The second month, Hudson Bridge for the legal retainer, $850. North Shore Gas, that's $924. Comcast, $189. City Visa, again, $31. Denny's Fire Control for the annual inspection and validation of the fire extinguishers in the building, $163. And a security system for quarterly alarm monitoring, $120. Again, another comment, $1,466. And Addison Bridge for legal for $850. So you see a couple of them, we had 3 months of them, just because of the way the calendar ran.
Yep.
So total expenditures of $8,868.37.
8,800.
37 cents. And the, on the charge card, there was, 2 charges to Amazon for, one for $60, one for $49, basically for, we replaced the old mechanical light timers with electronic ones that followed sunset and so that we didn't have to keep changing them all the time. So that's worked out really nicely. And then, $22 for our, annually for the, digital certificate for our email system, and then, $8 for, batteries for the remote, temperature sensors. So, since we're not in the building all the time, we keep, make sure we're not freezing and have pipe problems. So that is the expenditures.
I will make a motion to approve outstanding notices as presented.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, trustee Mack.
Aye.
Trustee Dunn, aye. Trustee Malinowski, absent. Alright. Agenda item number 10, other items that are, as may be lawfully brought before the board.
Yeah.
For discussion.
So, let's see if I can find it. This is my public service announcement. Did you get your,
The annual truthing.
the ethics?
Yes, I
You
did.
did, okay.
I did, and I completed it, like 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Alright, okay. Cool. I will reach out to Marcin as well, make sure that he gets his out.
Yeah, because I think it's due by the 1st.
It is, it is. And there is no reason not to get that done.
No.
It's easy.
Very simple and online. Alright, yeah, I didn't have anything else other than that.
No, it's PSA. As long as I can get everybody's documentation, for their, continuing education credits, we should be good.
Yep.
So that's all I got.
You don't need a copy of that, that just goes straight to the county, right?
This?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I mean, that's generally between you and the county.
That's kind of what I figured.
So.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty.
I got nothing else.
I don't either.
Do we wanna give folks one last bite at the apple, now that you've looked under the hood? Spark plugs, wires, points, condenser? No? Okay.
I'm very impressed.
Don't be. But if you wanna
We
run,
appreciate it.
if you wanna run for my job, please see me afterwards, cause I'll help you figure it out.
Well,
Okay.
with that, I will, present a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:50.
I'll second that motion.